homeowner or want to be one someday. There will likely be a time you want or need to sell your real estate. So it's essential to understand various ways to sell a home and their costs so you do it as profitably as possible. Today's topic was inspired by a recent question from Scott in Florida, who says, I live in an old house on the Gulf Coast that needs a lot of repairs, like a new roof, windows, and upgrades to the kitchen and bathrooms. I've paid for many updates over the years, but can't afford more. I'm considering selling the property and downsizing by building a smaller new home. Since I don't have much cash or home equity, what's the cheapest way to sell my house and get the best price? Thanks so much for your question, Scott. I can appreciate how stressful living in a home that needs costly repairs must be, especially around the Gulf Coast, which has had so many terrible storms and just flooding that's happened. There are just probably a lot of people that are in your same situation around the Gulf. Fortunately, you have several good options when you're ready to move. So this podcast will review the pros and cons of various ways to sell a home, even if it needs work you can't afford or don't have the time to do. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining me on episode 870. I'm Laura Adams, an award-winning author, finance spokesperson, money speaker, founder of The Money Stack, which is a Substack newsletter, and host of the Money Girl podcast with over 43 million downloads. If you're getting value from the show, please subscribe and consider submitting a 5-star rating or review on your podcast app of choice. And if you've got a question about money, just like Scott, leave it on our voicemail at 302-364-0308, or you can send an email and sign up for the free Money Stack newsletter when you visit lauradadams.com. All right, so what options do you have when it's time to sell a home? If you decide to sell your home or any other real estate that you have, there's certainly a lot to consider. What's happening in your local housing market is important. Also, the property's condition, location, insurability, and your available cash, timeline, and willingness to make repairs, all of those come into play. For instance, maybe you just landed a high-paying job on the opposite coast or inherited a property that needs to be sold quickly. Or you might be in Scott's position with a property you cannot afford to repair or upgrade. Many home sellers have plenty of time to make updates and put their property up for sale after finding their next home. But there are alternatives if you don't have the time, cash, or ability to prepare a property for sale and pay traditional closing costs. So I'm going to review the following ways you might sell a home and what they typically cost. So there's listing your property with a local real estate broker. There's selling a property yourself as a for sale by owner or FSBO, FSBO. And you can sell a property as is to an investor. So starting with the first one, listing with a real estate broker, this is certainly the most traditional way to sell. I would say most real estate transactions happen because a seller decides to list their property with a local real estate broker that charges a percentage of the sales price. Now, previously, a broker typically charged a commission anywhere in the range of 5 to 6%, and they would split that commission 50-50 with another broker known as a co-broker who happened to bring a buyer to the deal. However, a new rule went into effect on August 17, 2024, prohibiting brokers from advertising buyer's agent commissions on the Multiple Listing Service, or MLS, which is the database of real estate listings. The rule's goal is to prevent agents from only showing properties that are paying higher sales commissions. That's an unethical practice known as steering. Listing commissions have always been negotiable, and they still are, so you might negotiate a lower percentage, especially if you have a desirable property that may sell quickly. For their fee, a broker helps you with a wide range of tasks, from researching comparable sales, property staging, taking photos, putting your property in databases like the MLS and Zillow, advertising, hosting open houses, fielding questions from potential buyers, setting up showings, negotiating offers, overseeing contract contingencies, networking with other agents, coordinating with a closing office, and on and on. There's a lot that goes into getting a property, from a listing to the closing table. In a typical real estate transaction, sellers also pay certain closing costs, such as title insurance, transfer taxes, any negotiated concessions, and legal fees if you use an attorney. Plus, you may owe capital gains tax on a home sale for the tax year unless you qualify for an exemption. And to learn more about that, be sure to listen to podcast number 826 called What Tax Do I Owe on My Home Sale? The primary pro for paying a real estate broker to sell your property is getting their expertise, also getting their connections with local professionals, and saving time and hassle. The downside, of course, is paying a hefty fee. Also, since brokers usually work with traditional buyers who will need a mortgage, your property should be in good condition and insurable. Otherwise, a lender won't approve the deal for a buyer. Getting an all-cash offer on a home that needs significant repairs is possible, but those types of deals only make up about 32% of sales, and they tend to be for higher-priced properties. All right, the second way that you might sell a property is simply by putting out a yard sign that says "For Sale by Owner." When you do that, you're known as a FSBO, FSBO, in the real estate industry. And you'll likely get phone calls from brokers who want your listing, but you only have to pay them if you agree to a commission if they bring you a buyer. So, that may be something you want to do depending on your budget. As a FSBO, you're responsible for every aspect of a real estate transaction, including pricing, marketing, showings, legal paperwork, and negotiation. You can use platforms like Zillow and Facebook to advertise your property if you wish. If you're not well-versed in your state's real estate law, you should definitely use an attorney for help with paperwork and disclosures that are required in your state. Neglecting to create certain legal documents for a real estate transaction exposes you to huge liability, especially when your home needs work. Now, the pro for selling your own property is certainly saving the commission. But the downside is that you may spend a lot more time than you expect dealing with potential buyers, administering a deal, working with an attorney, and ensuring all loose ends get tied up before closing. Plus, you could lose significant money if you underprice a property or you're not a savvy negotiator. And the third option is selling a property as is to an investor. So real estate investors are everywhere. They can be individuals, investment firms, contractors, or real estate brokers. In general, they pay cash for your home as is, making it the fastest option with the lowest transaction costs. Whether you inherited a property that you must sell quickly or are like Scott and just can't afford repairs that a buyer's lender would require, a cash investor could close a deal within a week or two. You've probably heard of tech-enabled cash buyers known as iBuyers, such as those on iBuyer.com. They might be firms or brokers looking to invest in real estate in your area. The best house buying companies work with sellers anywhere in the country, and they can make a no-obligation cash offer on your property that closes quickly. You don't have to make home repairs, worry about curb appeal, or deal with potential buyers. The downside is that an investor usually pays a price for your home below market value, so they can renovate and resell it for a profit, which is known as a fix and flip. The discount you must accept depends on features of your home, like its location, size, condition, quality, layout, and general appeal. So an investor deal will be the most hassle-free, but it may not allow you to maximize your profit, especially if you're in a hot market. It's also possible to sell your home as is with a traditional real estate broker, but you'll likely also need to accept a lower sales price than if you had made repairs before listing your property. How you can know whether you'd come out ahead selling your home for less as is or making repairs and hopefully selling it for a higher price isn't always straightforward. The more repairs you need, the smaller the number of potential traditional buyers, but the larger the number of investment buyers. Getting multiple repair estimates from contractors can really help you understand the necessary upfront costs. Don't just assume that you know what they are and especially if you're not in the business. Get several estimates, and then based on the average of those estimates, you can determine if it's possible to make updates and still price your home to at least break even. For instance, if you could sell your home as is and net $350,000, or spend $50,000 on repairs and net $390,000, the renovations wouldn't be worthwhile. But if you could net $405,000, a little above what you've got in the property, making repairs might be worth it, depending on the time and the effort you have to put in. Being able to sell your home quickly, whether it's due to financial hardship, health problems, a family issue, or to relocate for a higher paying job, can be worth accepting a lower sales price on your home. You want to consider the time and hassle of overseeing home renovations before putting a property on the market. Your best buyer may be an investor if you need extensive repairs, like kitchen and multiple bathroom remodels. Remember that certain states require sellers to complete a seller's disclosure to list any known damage or faults with the property. When that's needed, be truthful about property disclosures to eliminate future liability, or definitely get help from a real estate attorney. Whether you sell a home using a broker or as a FSBO or to an investor, making some low-cost, minor repairs can definitely pay off. Improving a property's curb appeal and interior always helps first impressions, no matter who's the buyer. For instance, pressure washing the exterior and driveway, mowing the lawn, trimming hedges, adding landscaping, and removing yard debris can make pictures of your home a lot more inviting to potential buyers who see it online and in person. Inside, give your home a deep clean, declutter, fix leaky faucets, and add caulk around windows, sinks, and tubs. Those types of minor improvements, may not seem like much, but they can definitely have an oversized impact on how buyers view your home. If you want to sell your home for more than you'd get in as-is condition, consider tackling home improvements that will likely be the most valuable to prospective buyers. For example, an older roof is a red flag to home insurers. Many won't insure properties with a roof older than 10 or 15 years. So having a new roof could make or break a deal for a buyer who must get a mortgage and homeowners insurance. Likewise, repairing an older electrical system or replacing an old hot water heater means a home inspector wouldn't flag them to a potential buyer in the first place. Scott, your first step should be getting a home inspection and repair estimate to know what a buyer will find when examining your home. Based on the scope and cost of needed repairs, you can consult with a local broker on what comparable properties are selling for. That information should help you determine if repairing your home or selling it as is will likely net you the highest profit. Scott, good luck. I hope that has been helpful. Before we go, a quick reminder to subscribe to The Money Stack, my Substack newsletter, when you visit lauradadams.com. It's filled with money tips, tools, news, challenges, and things I enjoy. You can subscribe for free or support the show as a paid member and get access to live educational events. That's all for now. I'll talk to you soon. Until then, here's to living a richer life. Money Girl is a quick and dirty tips podcast. I want to thank our amazing team. Steve Rickyberg audio engineers the show. Brandon Gaches is our director of podcasts. Holly Hutchins is our digital operations specialist. Morgan Christensen is our advertising operations specialist. Davina Tomlin is our marketing and publicity associate. And Nathaniel Hoops is our marketing contractor.